Hey, everybody, I'm Matt with Prohaska Consulting. Great to be here. Always a pleasure to be part of Andy and the BTV's crew, and especially a neat, unique opportunity partnering with iView. Know many fine folks in the iView family here in past lives and present. And thrilled to be here with Jim Spaeth. Our team has known Jim a number of years, and Jim, we wanted to dive into a research study that your team did on behalf of iView that got into performance video. So give us a sense. We've only got a little bit of time here. We're going to do plenty more offline over there on BTV. But give us a sense just of the classic, purpose. What was the hypothesis that we were trying to prove out here?
We were trying to understand where marketers were in terms of their perception of digital video. In thinking particularly about this notion of digital video driving sales directly. Where did marketers stand at that point in time? This is late last year.
Yeah, and the perception has always been, okay, video, I get sight, sound, motion, branding. Okay, great. So I use that tool, that equals video, and that's all it's there for. What did we find?
That's not exactly what we found, but it's close to what we found. So, we talked to a lot of marketers, then we backed up about a couple of dozen one-on-ones with about 200 actual quantitative interviews. And what we found is a lot of marketers, the majority of marketers, thought of digital video as an extension of their video campaign. So you think about all the agencies kind of going video neutral. It was a way to reach the people they weren't reaching with linear TV. So that became important, millennials and others. So they would put it in the branding bucket, even though they had experiences and points of view that conflicted with that branding bucket.
And I'm sure a lot of we're talking cross-category here. Didn't a lot of folks have the simultaneous perception where, television, direct response TV, I remember when I was a fetus working at Turner broadcasting, my first job out of school, I was the guy, 20 minutes before the tapes were due, where I would call all the DR shops and I'd get Craftmatic adjustable beds, and I'd get them, and I thought I was in sales. That obviously wasn't as challenging as selling today, but it used to be, okay, great, if there's an 800 number and a URL, that's what you use DRTV for, and there was inventory for that, and it was always kind of last sold. How have those two philosophies and baggage, frankly, culminated in where some marketers are changing that and actually using performance video today?
I just got to add, one of the proudest moments of my career was when I met Ron Popeil personally.
Wow.
That's right. I have a pocket fisherman, but we won't go into that. So
nice friend.
Anyway, so it's interesting thinking about what Andrew was just saying, and think about this awareness leading to action. We have this idea that we change our mind, and then we grow that conviction, and then we change our behavior. That's actually wrong. Very often, we change our behavior, and then we post-rationalize the change in our behavior by saying, oh yeah, I thought that all along. So what we saw here was, again, the majority of marketers saying, yeah, digital video, it's video, right? It's branding. That's what we use it for. It's like television, but except it's online, right? But we also found that they were getting positive ROIs, and they were seeing strong sales results. So they had the behavior, of seeing those strong sales results, but kind of in their minds, it was still, yeah, it's branding, right? Isn't that right? But, cutting a little bit below that, what we saw was, the majority, 55% said it's for branding, 40% saw that it was for sales. Now, I wish this had been a longitudinal study. We'd say that it's changing. I kind of feel it in the numbers. I can't see it in the numbers. I can't, but you could sort of feel that emerging group of people saying, yeah, digital video is actually good for sales, which is supported by the fact that they would say it got strong ROIs, et cetera. Interestingly, we saw another group, and we kind of call these the Jedi Knights of marketing, that they saw digital video as, you can do both. Amazing. It's 2 minutes in one.
Were there it's a dessert topping and a flavors. Were there certain categories that you found skewed one way towards the other where they found results? Obviously the stereotypical, okay, if you're selling shampoo, maybe not as easy versus lead gen for insurance or other or more transactional.
It really varied by the business, because one other thing just that underlies this is the other thing that was hidden in there was that digital video, it's video, oh yeah, but it's also digital. So a lot of people saw it as part of the digital ecosystem, and that, this is my video tool in the digital world, as opposed to the people who were saying, this is my television tool in the digital world. So you had both of those things going on. So when you look at people whose businesses are heavily online, travel. were the leaders. They saw digital video more than others as driving sales, driving traffic. Now we're talking website traffic, but still bringing them opportunities and also converting those opportunities. If you looked at automotive marketers, their focus was traffic. So this was good at generating traffic, but that's how they would mark the papers for digital video was, yes, it drove traffic success, as opposed to I sold more cars. But there are cases we could talk about. CPG marketers, again, thought about it as shopper marketing. I'm going to get people in the store. It's not going to actually put the Velveeta in the cart, even if it did.
And then help us. You also touched on the creative process a little bit, and the actual message itself. One of the themes here today, and obviously some of the solutions iView provides is helping avoid the stereotypical copy paste of the 30
right.
and assuming that
right.
it can be applied obviously in a lean forward medium with actual performance available. Did you see pockets of where that people were actually doing that beyond just talking about it on panels?
Yes.
And it was in rhythm with agencies and brands directly?
In rhythm. I'll have to think about that, but
like part of the process. I mean, it was
I
actually not just we're going to try this as one test. It's
yeah,
actually
no. What we heard in some of the one-on-one interviews was interesting. Marketers understand the benefit of personalization, of me talking to you, using your language about your needs and your interests and so on. They all get that. They're terrified, at least the ones that we spoke to. We spoke to some pretty smart people. They're terrified of the process and the cost. How do you get that done? How many committees do I have to go through? What does that do to talent payment? Wait, I don't have a mechanism for doing that. So the minute you can simplify that and make it work for them and make it affordable, it makes huge differences. When we looked at ROIs for specific cases that iView was involved in, so that and we could look at the lift you got from targeting. I don't think anyone's surprised to hear that, but when the targeting was better, that's great. So digital video versus linear video, yeah, you can target it, that's better. But then we saw, and I can't document this as well because we only had a handful of cases, but based on the handful of cases that we saw, when you personalized it, you could increase those ROIs by a factor of 2 or 3. I don't mean adding 2 or 3 points, I mean 200 to 300%.
Right, and the cost is not 2 to 3x on that.
Absolutely.
So it's a very similar perception. A lot of us who have been applying audience data to targeting had that same chasm. They had to, wow, the CPM here, am I going to be able to get the ROI? It feels like, holy cow, $1.50 for this
right.
rich segment. I don't know if that's really going to happen. Similar story here in terms of the production cost might be 10 to 20% higher to be able to customize
right.
and do a few different flavors, but.
And one of the challenges is digital video is not inexpensive. So you can kind of break it down. What's ROI? Sales lift divided by cost. And so we were fortunate to do some work with Nielsen Catalina. And I saw Carl here a minute ago, and I think he walked out on me. But anyway, all right. Anyway, so and in that study, we saw that digital video had the strongest sales lift per impression of any medium in that norms study. But it also had the lowest ROI. Now, I'm not talking about iView, I'm saying in general, the whole world of digital video, because it's expensive. And that finding was supported by what we heard from marketers in our one-on-ones, as well as in the quantitative piece. That there he is. And he'll verify that later.
Nice, cool. So what are the, I know we've got a full day and a little bit of time here. What are a couple of the takeaways and sort of the next steps for folks that are going to see this report either on iView or Sequent's website?
Yeah, I mean, I would point out two or three things, right? So one is digital video can do both branding and drive sales. Think about what you need. Think about how you use it. It's how you target it. It's how you position it, and it's what the creative says. It's more about the creative than it is about the medium itself. It's a very versatile medium. I mean, think about it. It's like Nirvana: sight, sound, and motion, targeted and personalized. What more do you want, right? We can all sort of leave now. The second thing was, creative is critical. Targeting is critical, personalization is critical. When you get those three things lined up, the results can, as I said before, in a few cases we saw can be 2 and 3 times the norm. It can be just fantastic. And then the third thing I would say is you have to adapt it to your business. So like we were talking about travel and automotive, and we could have talked about CPG. You have to think about what you want to accomplish in your business and how should you deploy digital video to most effectively, most efficiently.
Nice. It's always very neat when the theory of conferences or thought pieces online actually have real practice and applications, and there's evidence of this actually moving forward. Again, you can see everything on iView's site and at Sequent Partners. Please join me in thanking Jim Spaeth.
Thank you, Matt.